The best opening line of any book. I would have lived in peace, but my enemies brought me war.
It's probably quite like the best
opening
line of all time.
Insane.
Give me a better one.
Yeah.
She's iconic.
She's iconic.
She's iconic.
1, 2, 3, go!
Welcome back to the To Be Read podcast. I'm Julie.
And I'm Vanessa. And today we get to talk about one of our favorite books of all time. We are going to be doing a deep dive into the book Red Rising by Pierce Brown. Just take a minute. Let it soak in. Let it soak in.
It's been a long time coming. Cue the Eras Tour entrance sound. Oh, guys, I'm so excited. And I have to be honest, I reread.
I
reread Red Rising again for the third time in less than 2 years in preparation for this episode.
There is no limit. The limit does not exist.
I was just, in the words of Katie Heron, the limit does not exist. There's no limit to how much we can enjoy this book series.
There's certain books that like on rereads, they either hit harder, don't hit as much, but like every time you reread or you see the fan art or you hear the audiobook, it hits every time. Every time.
The one exception is you slop makers on the internet that are using AI to make little movies on TikTok. I'm not supporting you. I want it just as bad as you do, but I'm not here for your AI slop, okay? Thank you.
I love you so much.
It is so painful to have to to scroll past it, but I just don't have, nope. I will not allow that. If you need to go look at Red Rising art, Red Murphy on Instagram. Just sit there and stare at it.
I think Julie has a shrine, actually.
I do have some of her artwork at my house.
So Pierce Brown, does he really need an intro? The man, the myth, the legend.
With just the most delectable locks.
He does have great hair.
Got great hair.
Way to go.
I know you're living in a cave writing Red God right now, but whatever's happening with your hair it's great.
I think we need like a tutorial. Can we get like a ready with me?
Get ready with me to write Red God. Toss,
no hands. So he is the author of the Red Rising series and the prequel series, Son of Ares, Red Rising Son of Ares.
Yes, and the Patreon series, Book of Lorne.
He's got a lot going for him, and right now he's finalizing the 7th book, Red God, in the series, but today we will be focusing mainly on Red Rising.
Book 1 and Book 1 alone.
I've actually only read books 1 through 3. If you've been here with us for a while, which is funny because I started this journey.
She started it all, okay?
Way back summer of 2024, I think I went on a date with my husband and we picked a book for each other and he picked Red Rising.
Good taste, Brenda.
Yeah.
Well done.
So, and then I read it and I loved it. And then I read all 3 right in a row. And I remember we've got footage of it, but where I'm telling you about what I was reading. And I was like, this is a weird for me because I'm not
You're a fantasy girl.
Yeah. I was like, it's weird that I like this so much. Why do I like this so much?
I remember that.
It is a canon event that romantasy or fantasy girlies go from ACOTAR, Throne of Glass, Red Rising, and Dungeon Crawler Carl in that order.
Yeah, it's a great internet phenomenon, and I'm here for it.
I did watch an interview with, is it Maud's Book Club?
Yes.
Where he says that he doesn't really resonate Red Rising with sci-fi. He considers it science fantasy, which I totally am on par with. It's a
space opera.
There you go.
Is it
a
not?
Space opera? Well,
Star Wars is a space opera. It's Red Rising. Red Rising is a space opera.
I think it's whatever Pierce Brown calls it. So he's called it a space fantasy. He is.
I'm here for it.
What drew us to Red Rising? Peer pressure. But we stayed for the great times.
Yeah, seriously. It was Vanessa had read it. She handed it to me. My brother had read it. I had a really good friend that had read it. Jake had read it. And I struggle when everyone's like, you need to read this. And I'm like, but do I? And so I will say that my first read was rough. It was not the ideal situation. I didn't love it when I first read it. She's now read it 3 times though. So obviously I really like it. But it also appealed to me because Pierce Brown has talked about his inspiration and love of Ender's Game. Ender's Game is a love of mine. So
he's very open about, you know, how he was inspired by the Romans and the Greeks and like some of the classic literature. I know he's written stuff beforehand, but like the fact that Red Rising came out in 2014?
Yeah.
And then like the internet just grabbed it by its balls in 2021. Like it had been out 6 years at that point. Interesting like chain of events, and maybe we can attribute that to this like social media. I'm not sure, but I'm glad that us romantasy girls got a hold of it. And I think it's because of the type of writing he does.
Yeah.
And I have a quote here where he's talking about EO, like at the very beginning of the book. Also like spoilers,
Obviously.
because it's a deep dive. So he's talking about EO. We grew together and now are grown. In her eyes, I see my heart. In her breath, I hear my soul. She is my land. She is my kin, my love. And I was like, this book is not necessarily romantic. There is like those small little romances, but he writes in a way that women want to hear.
Oh, seriously
So,
though.
it is kind of just
the
interesting.
yearning and the love that Darrow has for EO. It's so good.
Yeah.
Start us off though. Give us a quick pitch. Like you have less than 30 seconds to pitch this to a friend. What are you saying?
Book swap. Which is funny because that's what I said to Julia. I was like, do you want to do a book swap? I read All the Young Dudes and you were supposed to read
so hard off Marauders.
Let's see. I'm trying to think of what I said. I can't. I can't participate in this exercise because most of Red Rising for me was so emotionally driven.
Mm-hmm.
Even though there's like a lot going on, I was so emotionally involved that I can't put it into words other than she's iconic. She's indescribable. I don't know. It's hard. What about you? Like
I dive right into it's emotional. It's gut wrenching. It's my favorite series of all time. It's inscribed on the walls of my heart. Here you go. And then enter that TikTok sound or like all the TikTok sounds.
All of them. The book is thought provoking. It's beautiful and just like such a lyrical way. It has a lot of like meaning and emotion. So it's really interesting that it is labeled under like the Barnes Noble section of sci-fi.
Yeah.
Goes to show you can have both science and
I just
emotion.
feel like science fiction is that blanket label of like it takes place in space. And then that's science fiction.
Yeah.
Or like it messes with time and there's, you know.
I think it's so funny when people compare, and we've had that discussion before, when people are like, it's Hunger Games in space. It's Hunger Games, like, or any book, right? It's Hunger, like it's always Hunger Games that people like attribute it to. I actually thought a lot more about Lord of the Flies in this book than Hunger Games.
I have not read Lord of the Flies.
Oh, bless you. I had to read that in school.
Did not.
There was cannibalism. There's cannibalism in this book. So
Damn you, Jekyll. Let's go to first impressions. What was that moment where you're like, oh shit, the author's not messing around. Like Pierce is not.
yeah, right from the get-go, you learn about the hangings.
That
like
pull the feet.
Stakes are high right away, right from the get-go, where they make the loved ones pull the feet. The way Pierce writes Mars, right? Or, you know, Lykos. It's so merry and depressing at the same time. Like they have culture, they have the laurel, they have a tradition, they have like songs and dance. And like in 3 chapters, he's built a world already.
Mm-hmm.
Where I knew that like we were not messing around was when they talk about how Uncle Neril pulled his dad's feet.
Yeah.
When he got hung. When I knew I was going to the grave with this book was when Cassius stabs Darrow.
Oh
who was like a brother to him, and like you feel that even in the battle.
yeah.
Ooh!
When Neril pulls his feet and Darrow says like, because his dad danced all the time, right?
Mhm.
And it's like he died dancing but without his dancing shoes on. I was like, what the
Yeah.
fuck? That's when I knew. I was like, oh, okay.
He was dancing
He's a
without his
weaver
shoes.
of words.
Mhm.
And the first part of this book, it's like abundantly clear. Like they're not messing around. These aren't just like occasional hangings. Like these are happening frequently for people that are just singing
Mhm.
or dancing or they're trying to look at the sky. Damn it. Trying to have one moment.
They're just trying to have sex in a garden. Let them live. Jeez.
Did you ever feel confused, overwhelmed, or like what is happening?
Yes and no. I felt like in the first read, I was just there for the vibes, like, or I was just there for the ride. I just remember crying a lot in the first book. And in the second read, you definitely pick up more on side characters, because there's like 1,000 side characters. I will say like that and Dungeon Crawler Carl both have like so many side characters. It's hard to like remember everyone, and some of the names are very similar. So during my reread of it all, I got to ingest that more. But I do think that in the first time, I mean, I got what was happening. What about you?
It's kind of interesting to have read it 3 times now and to have like polar experiences, because my first time I was really confused, because not only is there a lot of information to ingest and a lot of characters, but also like the names are really different.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you read a ton of fantasy. I read some, but I don't know if it's that, like the use of the AU.
Oh, the O's.
The O's or the ows, like, but I mean, you've got Mateo and Mickey and just like so many different colors, and their names are just different, but also the pacing of this book is breakneck.
Yeah.
Like, it is so fast from start to finish that it's kind of hard to catch a breath. And so I was not in the right mind space the first time I read it, so that was kind of difficult for me. But the second and third time, it was, easy peasy.
I think I was used to the O's. That's very Latin.
Did you know that AU is the periodic table symbol for gold?
Yeah, I think I read that. Well, I knew that, but I think I put that together after my initial read. But I think someone told me that, or
the coppers too with the CU.
So I think this book is kind of like a sucker punch. It just totally, you just like blast off right from the get-go of misery and pain. But what that does is that helps give stakes to Darrow's journey going from red to gold.
So I think one of the most like gut-wrenching moments is when Darrow gets brought up to the surface and realizes that everything he's been told is a lie, that like Mars is habitable and that there's a whole society on the surface. So like our setting is Mars, the planet that has been terraformed and is now being lived on, and there are colors and there's a society and there's this very like tiered system of colors and people. So what part of this society or Mars itself like felt the most believable?
None of it. I mean, you get to see right away the pain of your government lying to you, which
is this story about us?
And so what was really painful to see was Darrow's reaction to, he's like, but they called us the pioneer. I mean, they had like those old school TVs playing like
propaganda.
Propaganda. So that was a little heart wrenching of him like accepting the fact, because EO knew that shit was happening. Darrow was the one who was not, I don't want to say he didn't believe it, but I don't want to say he didn't care either, but he wasn't about living a life that was going to go against the grain.
Yeah, but how do you live in that station your whole life and still feel like you can get out of it?
Well, I think I think he accepted it. I don't know if he ever thought he was going to get out of it. Yeah.
No, I think he looked at his family and was just like, hey, this is what we're going to do. And I'm just going to love my family as much as I can, as long as I can, because the years are short down there. And
they have a shorter lifespan because of the hard life that they live. Like you see it right away. You see the stink and the ick and the dirt and the grime that they have to go through as hell divers, or as what do you call them if they're not, are they all hell divers?
No.
What do you call the
crew?
Miners. It was just such an immersive world that I felt like I was living in it, but I wouldn't say it was reminiscent of the world that we live in. I feel like the world was like a dramatized version of the world we know now.
I found it to be like an extreme version of a cautionary tale. Like, what happens when we take a group of people and we put them in a box, and the box isn't made out of cardboard, it's made out of cement. And not only is this box going to keep them in their place, but it's also going to be their entire identity. So it's just kind of like, I think it can speak on the way we box people up, but I think the most believable part is like the ruling elite, right? Like you have the beautiful, the affluent, the rich, the rich politicos in power today. It's the billionaires. It's,
So
those people.
Brown has on his website, I've come to view society as a clumsy colossus of interest groups, stitched together by necessity. Like any creature, it wants to survive. To do that, it needs parts, not people. Gears to make it run. Fuel to feed the engine. Our society, Darrow's society, no difference. They need conformity, but we have a natural rebellious streak in us. We don't like being told we're gears. Society distracts with toys, with hyperbole and patriotism, because those at the top benefit most when those in the middle and at the bottom aren't paying attention. I do think it was his intention to have a commentary on society, but I think we're a little bit more nuanced in our society, meaning, and he's right, like we don't like to be labeled as one thing. And like, okay, let's take the Kardashians, for example, here. Would you consider them gold? I wouldn't. I'd consider them pink. You know what I mean? Like you can, in the society we live, Now, I think there's much more room to have multiple things.
Yeah, I just think it's really interesting because I think we're good at putting people in boxes of just like, oh, well, they like this, so they are a nerd, or they like this, so they're a jock, or they like this. So to think that we're more than that, we're more than the sum of our parts, but this explores like, but what if? But like, what if you were put into this box made out of cement? I do love the element of like the physicality coming into play, size, stature, color, you know, your abilities even. Like it added a really cool fantastical element.
The bones were even stronger.
Yes, the bone structure, like
the nanochip in the frontal lobe and like all of these things it did, that helped add to the, you're right, to the whimsical, fantastical nature of it all. There is a part where it's when Darrow, it's like Mustang's sick. Darrow's getting antibiotics from Fitchner. And Fitchner tells him like the game is rigged, that the jackal needs to win because he's the governor's son. I'm full of quotes tonight, fair warning. Then it doesn't make any lick of sense. It corrupts the entire thing. I say hotly, you broke the rules. The best of gold is supposed to rise, yet they have already chosen the winner. And this felt like a very interesting moment that I can see in our society. It's like, well, of course the people on top
are on top.
Like a very low percentage grew to be on top.
Yeah.
They've stayed on top.
And generational wealth.
Sometimes society stacks the deck in a way that doesn't allow people to grow to the top it's not the strongest will rise. It's who's the most powerful.
And the person set up to rise will rise.
That I did feel like had a lot of merit in our system today.
Oh, absolutely. So inside this system and society, we have some of the best characters we've ever seen. What a cast of characters.
Honestly, such a well-rounded cast in personalities.
And like their personalities are so well fleshed out.
One thing I really like that Brown chose to do is he kept Darrow pining after Io, even though Mustang was there, which I feel, I like romantasy. It's very common that the mourning period is short in those types of scenarios.
Yeah.
But he felt intense guilt over even like laying next to Mustang for warmth. He did not just get over Io. And I just liked the fact that Brown wrote Darrow in a way that didn't gloss over things because they were easier for the storyline.
Oh, yeah. It would have been so easy for him to just be like, ooh, Mustang, yes. Like, and at times it does feel like that. Like I have that in some notes later about wanting more between them, but he really does just like, you get it all. And you get like a real human feeling and emotion because he really did love Io so much. And Io's sacrifice, which gets even more painful the farther you get into it because you understand more of what went into it. It's just like, God, but he loved her so purely.
I thought Io has a line where she said, oh, like you would be a terrible martyr or something like that. Like martyrdom doesn't suit you.
Yeah.
I think is the line or something. And I think she was much more conniving. See, a lot of calculating, even calculating sounds a little bit strategic. She was more strategic about
she was very manipulative. She knew what she was doing,
and she forced the hand, and there's no like she knew what was going to happen. So would I make the same choices? And I not everything is super apparent in Red Rising. You get to learn things later. So if we're focusing just on Red Rising, I think that she had a lot of calculated things going on for her, but she did it in the name of her country, if you will, of her station, her people. Another character that I was really surprised by their intelligence and their actions was Mustang, which is funny because the first time around, I don't think I was like the biggest Mustang fan. Like, not that I didn't like her. She was just like, she was there. She wasn't a highlight. The second time around, I think I picked up more of her nuances in humor. And she is quite funny, but she also is very smart. I think it's so funny that Pax is just like her little sidekick.
Yeah.
This big giant Pax Telemanus. I'm just like thinking of like a giant rugby player, just like this little tiny girl.
Just hanging out with Mustang. One of my favorite Mustang moments, sorry to cut you off, is when she pinches Darrow's cheek.
Yes.
I'm just like, oh, like,
and she's like,
she
you're
just
adorable.
I have a deep love for Mustang because she is to Darrow what my husband is to me. Like, they just see you and you just have this way of connecting. Like Darrow says, sometimes I wonder why we even bother speaking. She knows my thoughts, even the mad ones. and just like accepts him for it. And I loved Mustang from the beginning. Like when she got brought in, I was just like, yes, just the way they connect. And like there's a moment where she winks at him and he's like, she winked at me and I felt like I could do anything. Love it so much.
But like, here's the funny, crazy part is like I said earlier, the book inherently isn't romantic.
No.
But I personally felt like it had a good amount of romance. And it was not necessarily romance. It was like the friendship made between...
The building of relationships, whether they're romantic in the sense with Mustang and Darrow, but to watch Sevro and Darrow's relationship and their bond. I mean, I'll be so for real. The first time I read the book, I knew that Pax was... like Mustang's right-hand man and that there was a connection between him and Darrow, but it didn't hit me until the third time through that I realized all that Pax did for Darrow. And so some of those relationships clicked a little bit later for me in my subsequent reads. The way that he develops relationships, I mean, when Sevro's introduced, Darrow's just like, his name's Sevro and I like his angle. And it's just like, this is the beginning of one of the best duos in all of literary history, like Darrow and Sevro. The tiny little things that Sevro does throughout the whole book, just like there's a part where he's sitting next to Pax and tickling him with a horsehair. Like
they wake up.
He is tickling people constantly in this book, and it is hilarious. And it's a part where Pax and Tactus wake up.
Tactus. I was going to say, I couldn't remember if it was Tactus
They're cuddling with each other, and it's just...
One of my favorite Sevro quotes of all time in this book was, they're like, oh, Sevro, you look like shit. And Sevro's like, oh, yeah, I rode your mother last night. Or it's because I rode your mother. And then he's like, you're not tall enough to even kiss her. And he goes, it wasn't her mouth I was trying to kiss. And I was like, oh, my gosh.
No matter how many times I read it, Sevro will make me laugh every single time because he's just so unhinged. And he doesn't give a shit about anything except the people that he loves. He wants to be loved. And he is the character that shows us that love is the core of humanity. Like, that's all we want. That's what we need. And his brotherhood with Darrow is just...
brotherhood is kind of like a big theme in male-driven books, but, this one is no exception.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. A brotherhood is a big theme in this book. You see that with Sevro and Darrow. You see that with Cassius and Roke. And like they even say, like, I lost a brother. Cassius says, I lost a brother, but I felt like I gained two more, which was heartbreaking because that was one of the scenes right before Cassius killed Darrow.
He tries to kill him.
He tried to kill Darrow. And so, do we feel like vengeance and justice are the same thing? Like, are they? That was also another thing, right? So we've got the brotherhood, but Cassius really felt so betrayed by someone killing Julian, his twin brother.
I'm going to step up on my soapbox here. I have a few things to say. First, I think vengeance is messy. And I think we see that when Cassius kills Titus. That is vengeance. He regretted it. Darrow regretted it. Like, they just all knew that it was wrong. It was messy. You have blinders on.
Roke even says, like, that was not justice.
Yeah, like, everyone knew. Now... Justice is more controlled. See Tactus being whipped and Darrow being whipped in turn. Like, to me, that is justice. I think there's a difference between messy and more thought out. Now, I think one of the big things that's often argued in this book is if Darrow is justified in his actions. And as someone who's recovering from OCD, I feel very passionate about this because I think that we put far too much weight on every single choice that we make of like, is it justified? Was this okay? I spend my days asking myself that, and I'm working through that. I think that not every decision has to have some deeper meaning, but I 1,000,000% think that Darrow's justified. Darrow is getting to this point. Like, did he make the right choices? I don't know.
I think that depends on who you ask.
I think he was justified, though, because, was capturing all the proctors and holding them hostage the best way to handle things? I don't know. But I absolutely think he was justified in doing it because this man is, I think what happens here in this story is a powerful commentary on the way we see like protests in the United States of like people rise up and maybe there's a protest that turns violent and it's just like, we don't want violent protests. But then they have a peaceful protest and nobody listens. So it's just like, okay, they're being peaceful over here, but they're not being heard. So because they're being peaceful just makes them easier to ignore. They're not being listened to. So when are we finally going to hear them? Maybe when they capture all the proctors and dismantle the game by hand.
I mean, this is another show and tell situation that Brown does so well. He showed us, like he told us, you know, like Darrow thinks this way. He changes the game, and then he does it over and over and over again. And you see that when, you know, the game wasn't to beat Jackal. He changed the game to beat the proctors.
Yeah. And Nero changed the game because he's an asshole.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? Like he takes this box and he shakes it and he opens it and then he still wins. He still does what he's supposed to do, but he has done it in this way that absolutely no one thought of.
Yeah.
But you're right. I do think that Darrow's justification for things is arguable. Like as far as his actions, were they right, were they wrong? This is a classic theological question of like utilitarianism versus deontology. Like, is one life worth more than the other? Or, you know, are the masses better? Like, it's honestly a theological question as far as like his individual actions. But the only person that he needs to be answering to is himself.
And I think he surrounds himself with a good cast of people in order to call him out on that. I mean, you see that in later books, like he gets called out for making mistakes and for screwing up. And I think that's what's important. But you brought Darrow into play as somebody whose family was hung for singing songs and for someone who was whipped for seeing the sky. Like, sorry, but you're playing by Darrow's rules now. Like, justification be damned. He's coming in and he's swinging because he's coming from a place that none of these other people have walked, and that like their family members, their parents are the ones that have done these things directly to Darrow and his family.
Yeah. So like morality comes into play there, you know, as far as like right versus wrong in his actions. Do you think like the book brought up any other moral questions? Like did it made you consider a different morality point of view?
My biggest question at the end of this book was, why was Cassius such a little bitch? Why was Cassius so pissed off? Like, I get it. Darrow killed Julian, killed his brother. But Cassius killed someone's brother or sister or son or daughter or whatever. Yeah. Like, why does Cassius hold Darrow to a different stand? What else was he supposed to do?
It's not like he went out and tried to kill Julian.
Yeah, he wasn't hunting him
in
down.
A room and said...
And like, if Cassius were to watch the footage, which he did, like, yeah, you see Darrow just like losing it because, I mean, Darrow's also trying to survive. Like, he's fighting to survive.
In the same way Cassius did.
In the same way Cassius did. So there's times where I'm just like, Cassius, you little bitch. You did the same bloody damn thing.
It is so interesting to kind of see Cassius's reaction because there's just like absolutely no way you would know exactly how you felt in the moment when it was like your twin. You know, like not even just your sibling, but like your other half, like, quite literally.
Julian wasn't even supposed to be there. Like it was this whole thing. And like, I feel really sad and but also like how much time had passed and how a freaking manipulation of it all too. Like Cassius never would have found out had the Jackal not been rigging the rules and Nero changing things.
Yeah. Was there ever like really a right time for Darrow? Because like Darrow really struggled with the guilt that caused, not only like killing someone, but the relationship with Cassius. And they were like brothers and he really felt that guilt. And so like, when was there a good time? Like, is there a good time? I think there was none. And it was obvious to everyone. And the fact that Cassius thought that Titus killed him and had such rage, you would have thought that he would have gotten out the killing bug with Titus.
Like he would have tried to move on from then and just been like, okay, I can't do this.
I know at the end they said that Cassius was just kind of like a shadow of himself, that he really struggled after he tried to kill Darrow, but at the end of the day he still tried to kill Darrow, and not only that, then you see him do the blood feud at the end of the book where he spits blood at him and he's like, this is a blood feud. It was quite dramatic.
Which then triggers an entire war. Good heavens.
And they say women are emotional. So I think that the morality in that particular relationship is there's no right and there's no wrong way to have handled that.
Yeah. That's kind of my like moral question / hot take. Cassius, you did the exact same thing to somebody else's sibling or son or daughter or whatever. Like, you also just murdered someone, and I know that it was Julian, and I know that Julian was supposed to survive. Like, I get it. Don't come for me. But honestly, it's a great story point. Like, let's be real. It sets off this war, and I need you to read the second half so I can talk.
But in this episode, we're focusing on
the first book. But it does build up for a good storyline. I understand the purpose of it, but sometimes I just wonder. It's a quandary. Okay. Sorry.
No, you're good. You go.
Favorite moments.
Ooh, there's too many. There's just too many. If I could live through one scene. Okay. I'm one of those people who is very visual. As a graphic designer, like, that's just in my nature. So when I read books, I very clearly have something in mind, and like, it usually is pretty on par with the book. Like your video you sent me, that's like, no, actually they have short hair or whatever. Like, they're not what you're saying at all.
Yeah.
I've never had that. Never, not once. But I know other people do.
That's the way in which we greatly differ. You're always very true to the book.
That
would be a really funny book episode.
That would be.
Okay, sorry.
I can see very vividly and very clearly the scene where Tactus gets whipped and then Darrow gets whipped.
Yes.
I feel the grit on my skin. I smell the leather. There was just something so cinematic about that particular scene.
It's very visceral.
You feel the shock that the other people have that are watching, that are spectators to whatever the shit is happening between these two. The ownership that Darrow took in leading a group. Big shocker that I would find that intriguing.
A leadership moment?
Yeah, I know. Most of all, I can kind of like empathetically feel the lashings. Like, like when he has Tactus whip him and it's not hard enough, and so he gets Pax to do it, I was just like, oh my heart. Like, and then they said like Pax is crying in the other room, and I was just, I don't know. That was, I mean, I wouldn't say that it was like the nicest moment to want to go and watch, but just like from a cinematic view, like if I were sitting there watching a movie, that would have been like the most impactful to me, and one of my favorite parts that shows Darrow's character. Basically, I cannot quite put into words what reading that scene did to me. It was visceral, but it was clever and it was chaotic, like pure insanity.
Mm-hmm.
And I hadn't read a book or a scene like that in a while, where you were just like, where you have to sit and stare at a wall after.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
What about you?
This is going to kind of be a sleeper, I think. There's a couple more that I'll mention, but one scene that I really, really liked this time around was Mateo training him to be a gold. There's something so precious about his relationship with Mateo, because Mateo sees him at his most raw form as a gold, and probably gets the most genuine Darrow, who's like not trying to protect himself or anything. Like, he's just raw and him and trying to figure out his place in this world. And Mateo is the perfect person to do that. And I really enjoyed that. I think his bonding with Harmony is very interesting, because they both feel rage, and he can see where she comes from because she has that big scar on her face. But I just found that scene really touching this time around. I also love the scene where they were trying to steal the horses and they end up in the lock.
Yes.
And Mustang's just sitting there teasing them, and Sevro rescues them, but it's just very bucolic. And it makes me happy just to even think about it. Like I said earlier, I want to see all the moments that Sevro's tickling people, because it's hilarious. But I also love the moment where the Howlers unite for the first time as they storm Olympus. And I'm a little embarrassed to like mention this. I don't think I ever recognized until my third read through that Cassius is the one that names the Howlers. That's just me, but I loved that. I think it's so funny because it's so quick. But then those are the names that they carry with them for the remainder of the series.
I really enjoyed the Howlers as like an entity, because they had a very charismatic,
scrappy.
Yeah, they were scrappy. And then they had the pelts too, like
so sick.
It was interesting to see like Sevro's little pack, and then to see what it turned into. And then like the people who followed Darrow, who earned their own pelts. I feel like Brown, the way that he brings the soul, because he's talked about the soul of his books, how he brings the soul into his books is by those little details of fine tuning and making something both individual while also kind of fitting within whatever character that they need to be. And he just the personality he gives in the most subtle ways just is such a testament to his writing style. And I don't know, I think Pierce is my favorite writer of all time.
Yeah. Yes. I think the fact that each of the 6 books can sit on my God tier shelf, not only as a series, but as individual books. Like, as I've reread them now, they each stand on their own and shine in their own ways. Something that you're mentioning about the soul, like, I just think of Sevro stalking Darrow through the woods. Because, I mean, even Mustang knows. Like, it's kind of that scene in the Fellowship of the Ring where they're in the mines and Gandalf isn't sure where he's going. And Frodo's like, somebody's been following us. And Gandalf's like, that's Gollum. He's been following us for 3 days. Like, that's kind of how Mustang's like, Sevro's been following you this whole time. Like, he just kind of is always near you, always like looking out for you.
He's like his own little pet. Pet wolf. He's Darrow's pet wolf.
All right, let's get into some critiques, if we have any, and hot takes. So were there any moments where the book lost your interest or felt confusing?
I think, and I can see the purpose to this, but the battle scenes were a little chaotic. And I think they were meant to be, but there was too many of them for me, meaning they lost impact. And I think they were supposed to show strategy where, you know, so-and-so takes this castle and this person, and then, like, you know what I mean? Like, it felt more like a game at that point, whereas, like, you know, I love Throne of Glass. They had less battles, but they were so impactful. Like, you knew exactly what was going on. It was like a clear picture. There was like higher stakes, if you will.
Yeah.
And I would have maybe liked that a little bit more than the back and forth battle scenes of like, so and so came over here and shit in their well, and, like, you know what I mean? Like,
I just want to be in the house with bread.
yeah.
Like, just that always makes me laugh. Of just like that freaking smell of bread. I hate that.
House of Ceres.
Yeah.
One thing I didn't catch on my initial read, I was like, where's Ceres? And now that my daughter's like obsessed with planets, Ceres is a dwarf planet,
Yeah.
which is of equal size to Pluto. But
Ayo.
anyway,
Ayo.
so and Io is a moon of Pluto.
Yes. These
So-
names are all based in things. They all make sense. They're just sometimes, and it got more complicated for me farther on into the books. Like when we get into Atalantia and Atlas and Ajax and Apollonius, like that's when I kind of start to get a little more confused.
Yeah.
If there was something that I wanted more of in this book, I would have loved to see a further, and I think it was done great, but I would have loved to have more exploration of Mustang and Darrow, just to get a little deeper, because they do forge such a connection. Like being able to just like look at each other and understand what you're saying, like put me on the ground. I want to see what was happening. Like I know a lot happened, and I want to know what it was. Sometimes the mystery is good.
Yeah, I was going to say that begs kind of a bigger, broader question about the book experience as a whole. Is it leaving your reader wanting more and like letting your reader fill the gaps of that?
Yes.
Or is it better to kind of like, okay, a good example of this is Throne of Glass. What did Lorcan do? It's like, I personally would rather not know, because if I did, I feel like it would ruin the, like, what I was thinking.
Yeah, but it's kind of like in Avengers when Hawkeye and Black Widow are like, this is like Budapest, and he's like, I remember Budapest very differently. Like, it's kind of nice to fill in those blanks by yourself and to just be like, I wonder what happened. And you could do that in this book, and you can do it in the span between Red Rising and Golden Sun, because there's a time jump, and you kind of figure out things that happen. But I think to have a little bit of mystery and intrigue is good. You know, their relationship was built so wonderfully. The wait, what moment for me. And guys, sometimes I'm dumb. I'm a smart person, but I'm dumb. The whole Lucian being Jackal gets me every time. I always forget. I always forget that little pinprick is the freaking Jackal. Because I'm just like, the Jackal's going to arrive soon. And then Darrow's like, there's a ring missing. And I'm just like, Darrow, why do you have to be so freaking smart?
If I was like living the moment, I probably would never have known. But maybe it was like the foreshadowing or something. I knew that was him, like right away.
Jackal was coming.
Well, I knew Lucian was Jackal.
You knew Lucian was Jackal. Yeah, I'm just because you know Jackal's coming. That's what I'm saying.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
There's this constant buildup of Fitchner just being like, you can't mess with Jackal. He's gonna F you up.
What I didn't expect was the sly way that because like there is no pride there. Like he doesn't do it in any sort of honorable way, which is a very Gold thing to do. In fact, Fitchner even says like you and the Jackal, when he's talking to Darrow, you and the Jackal are not made of the same gold or something. I can't remember the exact line, but he basically says like the other golds would never have degraded themselves to do this thing.
Yeah.
You guys did, like the Jackal did. And like that is also maybe like a weird little commonality that those two share.
Oh.
So
when Darrow takes out Fitchner, just bashes his face in and steals his grav boots. The grav boots reveals one of my favorites when he just like suddenly has his grav boots and then Sevro's got a ghost cloak and it's just like
that was
so
one
great.
of the more chaotic parts of the book where I was like, what is happening?
Yeah, when
So-
Jupiter's just like, peace out.
Yeah.
And Sevro's like, you know,
In the true Sevro fashion.
in the true Sevro fashion.
My wait, what moment was during the reread, and I didn't quite put two and two together that Lorne Arcos wanted Darrow for an apprenticeship.
Yep.
Like in my mind, I didn't put those two together.
Live, laugh, love, Lorne. I love Lorne.
Yeah, that was kind of just like maybe the biggest wait, what moment. I was like, oh, okay. So in a reread, you kind of do like pick up those little things.
Yeah.
But
Wrapping it up, I gifted the first 3 books to my brother-in-law for Christmas, and I went through and highlighted them. And as I was highlighting them, I realized and I would write notes like, this is referenced on this page in Red Rising and this happens in Morning Star. This book is a strong foundation for the rest of the series. The foreshadowing in it is insane. And I don't pick up on foreshadowing that well. Because like I said, sometimes I'm dumb. This book stands on its own as excellent, but when you pair it together with the series, it's just like, and I'm going to make a weird recommendation here because I did something kind of wonky. I've been working through my initial reread of Red Rising, and I finished Dark Age last month, and then I needed to get into Lightbringer. But then we were prepping for this episode, so I reread Red Rising. But before I did that, I read the Sons of Ares comic books and got the backstory on Fitchner. And then I read Red Rising, and now I've been reading Lightbringer.
so what Julie's trying to say is
Dive in as much as you can and be as nerdy as shit, and it is so fun. But seriously, to read Red Rising and then to jump into Lightbringer and kind of see where things end up for now.
or you could take a little bit more of a nuanced approach like I did and just enjoy the ride.
All that to say though, you need to read Sons of Ares because I had chills at the end. Fitchner is incredible, and to have that backstory when you read Red Rising, Pierce.
So I think some readers could maybe get overwhelmed with the cosmere of it all. What would you even call the Red Rising sphere?
The galaxy of it all.
The galaxy of it all. So start with Red Rising. Move on to, the next few. And if you really like it, then go in and dive right into making it your whole personality.
Like me.
And
No,
no
but-
shame. None.
But for reals, I consider this book, if you are willing to tackle a series, and not even that, this is a Project Hail Mary book to me. Like, I think that anybody could read this and enjoy it. I said it. I think I might be giving it to my dad for Christmas. Still thinking that one over.
But your friend didn't like it.
She
there are people
liked
who
it, but not as much as I thought she would.
Oh, shoot. Not the expectations.
Well, I think that's probably what happened. Like, I wonder if she went back on her own terms and reread it, if she would like it more. Because I was kind of the same way the first time I read it. And I will own that. We're allowed to change and grow. Okay. We give space for that here.
We do give space for attitude adjustments. I had a weird...
Go read it.
Yeah. So, however, the great thing about Red Rising that I love is you can choose to be as dedicated of a servant as you want to be. You can just start with the one book. And if you don't want to move on, you don't have to. It was still a great book. There was a natural conclusion. If you want to keep going, keep going. If you want to inject it like an IV, there is opportunities for that as well. So you have options.
It's a great fandom space. I'm here for it. I am owning it. And I love it.
One thing I will also recommend is the audiobook for this one. It is iconic.
Oh, the audio is so good.
And not even the dramatized. Well, I haven't listened to the dramatized version. But the regular one is
so good.
So good. So
guys, go read Red Rising if you haven't. And if you have, message us about it because I will never stop talking about it.
Yes, I agree. Go read.
Thanks for joining us on another week of the To Be Read podcast. Go read, and read some more, and we'll catch you next time.